There was a specific moment, one single moment, when your cat looked at you and made a decision that changed everything about your relationship. You were not watching when it happened. You were not doing anything remarkable. You were just being yourself, ordinary, unguarded, completely unaware. And in that moment, your cat quietly, certainly, and permanently decided, this one, this is my person. And you had absolutely no idea it was happening. Most cat owners believe their relationship with their cat developed gradually. A slow accumulation of shared meals and quiet evenings and familiar routines that built over months and years into something that now feels like genuine mutual attachment. And that picture is not entirely wrong. Bonds do deepen over time. Trust does accumulate. Familiarity does matter. But underneath that gradual deepening is something most owners never know about. Something faster, something more precise, something that happened not over months, but over a specific window of time. Possibly a single interaction, possibly a single quiet moment, when your cat's assessment of you reached a threshold and crossed it. When the ongoing, continuous, extraordinarily precise evaluation your cat had been running since the day you met them produced a conclusion. Safe. Known. Mine. That moment is what this video is about. Not the long, slow arc of your relationship, but the specific, documented, behaviorally precise process by which your cat selected you. How it happens. What triggers it. What it looked like from your cat's perspective while you were completely unaware it was occurring, and what the behaviors your cat showed you in the days and weeks after that moment were actually trying to tell you, because your cat did not simply become comfortable with you over time. They chose you, actively, deliberately, and with a biological precision that makes the word choice more accurate than it might seem for an animal. They ran an evaluation, they gathered data, they reached a conclusion, and then, quietly, without announcement, in a moment you almost certainly did not recognize for what it was, they committed. Understanding how that process works does not change the warmth of what you already have with your cat, but it will change how you see it, and it will give you something most cat owners never have, the knowledge of exactly what you did and what you are that made your cat decide you were worth choosing. Before we can understand the moment of choosing, we need to understand the process that leads to it, because your cat did not choose you randomly. They did not choose you simply because you were present, or because you provided food, or because you were the only option available. The selection process cats use to identify their primary attachment figure is sophisticated, multi-layered, and rooted in biological imperatives that go back thousands of years before the first cat ever voluntarily entered a human dwelling. Cats are what behavioral scientists describe as facultative social animals. Unlike dogs, who have been selectively bred over millennia to be socially dependent on humans, cats retain the neurological architecture of a solitary hunter. Their default social setting is independence. They do not need a primary bond the way a dog needs one. They are biologically capable of functioning without one, which means that when a cat forms a deep primary attachment to a specific human, that attachment is genuinely chosen, rather than biologically compelled. It is selected for, not defaulted into. The selection process begins almost immediately upon meeting a new person, or upon a person entering a space the cat already occupies. Your cat begins gathering data from the first interaction, not consciously, not deliberately in the way a person might consciously evaluate someone new, but continuously, automatically, with the precision of a sensory and cognitive system specifically evolved to read behavioral signals with extraordinary accuracy. What are they reading? Everything. Your movement quality. Whether you move slowly and predictably or quickly and unpredictably. Your vocal tone. Whether your voice is low and calm or high and stimulating. Your body language around them. Whether you respect their autonomy, whether you reach for them or wait for them to approach, whether you respond to their signals or override them. Your consistency, whether you behave the same way each time, whether your energy is predictable, whether the version of you that appears today resembles the version that appeared yesterday. Feline cognition researchers, including teams studying how cats form preferential relationships in both colony settings and domestic households, have found that the primary factor distinguishing individuals that cats select as primary bonds from those they merely tolerate is behavioral predictability combined with appropriate social responsiveness. Cats select people who are consistent, calm, and who respond accurately to cat communication. People whose behavior can be learned, anticipated, and therefore trusted. Here is what this means practically. The moment your cat chose you was not triggered by something dramatic or exceptional you did. It was triggered by the accumulated weight of ordinary interactions in which you were simply, consistently, genuinely yourself, and in which that self happened to match, in ways you were never aware of, exactly what your cat's evaluation system was looking for. Research into feline attachment formation suggests that the choosing moment, the threshold crossing from assessment to commitment, tends to occur in one of three specific types of interaction. Understanding these interaction types is the closest most owners will ever get to identifying when their own choosing moment actually happened. The first type is the moment of unguarded stillness. Your cat was observing you, as they always are, and you entered a state of complete, genuine, unperformed relaxation. Not relaxation produced for anyone's benefit. Not the comfortable performance of ease that most people produce in social situations. True stillness, the kind that happens when you are reading alone or sitting quietly with your thoughts, or simply existing in your space without agenda or audience. In this state, your behavioral signals, your breathing, your muscle tension, your movement quality, your scent chemistry, align into a configuration that your cat's assessment system reads as maximally safe. No threat, no unpredictability, no performance that might shift into something else. Just a being at rest in their own life. And for a cat whose selection criteria center on predictability and felt safety, this configuration is profoundly compelling. The second type is the moment of accurate reception. Your cat approached you, tentatively, with the careful social approach of an animal that is still in assessment mode, and you received that approach correctly. You did not reach for them immediately. You did not flood them with attention. You allowed the approach on their terms, you acknowledged it without overwhelming it, and you let them set the pace in the terms of the contact. In feline social interaction, this kind of accurate reception is extraordinarily significant. Most humans get it wrong. They respond to a cat's tentative approach with enthusiasm that the cat experiences as socially incorrect and mildly threatening. The person who gets it right, who receives the approach quietly, who lets the cat lead, stands out in the cat's social experience as someone who speaks their language, someone who understands, someone safe. The third type is the moment of crisis comfort. Something frightened your cat, a loud noise, an unfamiliar visitor, a sudden environmental change, and in their activated, alert, threat-assessing state they found themselves near you, and your presence reduced their arousal, not because you did anything specific, because the accumulated data your cat had gathered about you had already established you as a safe signal, and in a moment of genuine threat activation, that safe signal did exactly what safe signals